Well, good afternoon, beloved. Hey, it's your brother G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, coming in live on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon, 12:12 in the afternoon on this tenacious Tuesday. Question for today: is the blame game keeping you single? I want you to think about this. Playing the blame game. A lot of us are guilty of it. In fact, I'd be willing to step out on a limb and say all of us have been guilty of it at some point or another. Yes, you, sir. Yes, you, ma'am. Even the most integral person who holds themselves at a high level of accountability at some point in our relationship, in our marriage, we will get into the blame game, blaming the other person for something that went wrong in the relationship, or worse, blaming the other person for something you did wrong in the relationship. Listen, most of us are guilty of it. If we're honest, ladies and gentlemen, honesty is the key. If we're honest, we've been guilty of playing the blame game. But now I'm talking specifically today to singles. Those of you that are single, I want to ask you the question because, listen, you may not be in a relationship currently, but the blame game could be keeping you single if, even when looking back at your previous relationships, that you don't find any fault within yourself. I mean, you just like the Lord. I find no fault in her. Thou art perfect. And the angels are singing around you. Ho, ho, ho. Really? Like, boo, you didn't do nothing wrong. Okay, let's just put it out there. He was a liar. He was a cheater. Shout out to the late, great Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Listen, you a liar, you a cheat, right? He was a liar. He was a cheat. He cheated on you multiple times. He did all of those things. He was a narcissist, all of that stuff. Let's say that all of those things that you say about that man is true. Our question is, what about you? I mean, were you a total angel in the relationship? Well, no, Dr. G, I wasn't an angel. But see, I did what I did because of what he did. Really? Let's just say that you were the quintessential virtuous wife. And you did all the wonderful things up front. And you did all these things to serve that man. And he was just a dog. Guess what? Even in that, if that man was a dog, if that man was no good, even in that, ladies, guess what? You still have to take some responsibility and be accountable. Oops, did I just cuss at y'all? I'm sorry. I'm a preacher. I shouldn't be cussing. Did I just use the word accountable for the women? I know that's a cuss word. Listen, there's two major cuss words that you can use with 21st century women of today. Yes, even in the Lord's church. And that's accountability and submission. Whew. Woo! Hamburger. That's like cussing at sisters. I mean, literally, you say that in an arena full of women, especially seasoned, accomplished women. Man, that could go left real quick. You'd be like, oh, wait, hold up. What did he just say? Did he just cuss at us? Did he just say accountability? Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Excuse me, Dr. G. I don't mean no disrespect, but whenever somebody says, I don't mean something, I don't mean blank, 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 but whatever they just said previously to that, prior to that, it's getting ready to be disrespect. Whenever they say, I don't mean no harm, but that means they're getting ready to harm you. So listen, I literally have been invited. I've been the guest, Sheila B. Blessings to you, Michelle Hall, Queen Lavora. I've been the guest at all women's conferences, and they invited me to be the male guest to bring a male perspective on relationships. And then when I'm sharing what I'm sharing, the women have literally had a very, very tough reaction to some of the things that I've shared. And mind you, I'm always going to speak from a transparent place. I'm always going to talk about my own faults, my own shortcomings, but I'm going to hold you accountable too, because a healthy relationship, Miss Tony, blessings to you. A healthy love relationship is reciprocal. And that means that we have to have balance. So that means just as much as a man is accountable for certain things, the woman is also accountable for certain things. There are certain people who I love and respect on this platform talking about relationships, certain people within the body of Christ who are experts in the area of relationships. And I don't like their teaching. I don't follow them. I don't support them because they teach from a very imbalanced place. Usually when people teach from a very imbalanced place, they're teaching from a personal place of previous hurt that has not been healed, period. Conversely, people who have gone through the process of healing, people who have gone through the process of getting counseling by a licensed, certified professional, okay? People who have taken the time to go through that work. And in addition to that, in addition to counseling, fasting and prayer and learning to die to your flesh and learning to die to selfishness and learning to die to your pain and let go of that and walk in forgiveness and let go of resentment and bitterness, because resentment, bitterness, and unforgiveness will have a physiological effect on you, not just a spiritual or emotional impact. Physiologically, it can jack you up. Okay. If you hold on to bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness, guess what? That can cause tumors. It can cause blood clots. It can cause bleeding ulcers. There's a host of different things. All right. And this is scientifically proven. All right. So I want to really address this today, that playing the blame game is something that we got to let go of. And I want to ask you all the question, and you all can respond to me in the chat. Have you ever been guilty? Have you ever been guilty at any point in any relationship? Have you ever been guilty of playing the blame game in a relationship? Yes or yes? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Have you ever been guilty of playing the blame game? I know I've been guilty. Let me confess my mess. This will be helpful for somebody else. I'm not going to go too deep here because I'm going to really talk about this tomorrow night in our Preparing for Real Love group coaching. So you all will have to come to that in order to hear what I'm going to be sharing in that group tomorrow. All right. But our Preparing for Real Love group coaching is a transformational group coaching. We are together twice a week, every week. How often you come is up to you, but I am here to teach every week in our group coaching, every Wednesday and every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We meet on Zoom, and all of the sessions are recorded so that if you want to join us and you want to be a part, you can. And you want to join us and be a part, guess what? Boom, every session is recorded live and you get to watch the replay at your leisure. All right. So those of you that are in the group today, listen, I'm sending out the last 2 or 3 replays. You all will be getting those today via email. All right. But listen, so if you want to join us, let me know. This is available for you. This is all for people who are marriage-focused men, marriage-focused women. This is for those who have been through some stuff in life and you say, you know what? I've gotten it wrong before. It's time for me to learn how to get it right. This is to help you identify some relationship blind spots. This is to help you get free from some soul ties. A lot of us are unaware of the fact that we still may have some soul ties. Oh, yes. And you're thinking because you've been abstinent, you've been on the celibacy lifestyle, you think that you're okay. And you haven't been with anybody in years. Well, guess what? The soul tie by definition, Miss Trina, soul tie by definition is your soul is defined as, or rather consists of, your mind, will, and emotions. So a soul tie can be existing completely absent of sexual intercourse. You could not have sex ever and still have a soul tie. You can be a whole virgin. Never, ever, 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 ever have you had sex, man or woman, but you can still have a deep-rooted soul tie with someone, okay? So that's one of the misnomers of relationships, that people think that a soul tie is associated with sex. It exacerbates, okay? Let me say this, that sex outside of marriage will exacerbate the soul tie. It will intensify the soul tie. All right. But soul ties are established completely absent of sexual intercourse. All right. We've noticed, Michelle, Lavora. Hey, Angela, blessings to you. Bishop, what's up, great man of God? We've noticed since the pandemic, there's been an increase of people caught cheating through social media. emotional cheating, where men and women have connected online. Now you're married, you got a whole spouse in your house that you're going to bed with every night, but you got another social media connection, and you're more intimate with that person online through all your inboxing and all of your calls and texting and all sliding up in them DMs, because you know it goes down in the DMs and all of those DM messages. Yeah. So listen. So anyway, that is our Preparing for Real Love group coaching. Boom. If you want to be a part of that, boom, you can let me know. I'll share that again at the end. Okay. So listen, let's get into our conversation for today. I don't feel like my camera is where I need it to be. Y'all like my background? I'm chilling on my patio. This is my future patio, y'all, with my pool. You know, I got the infinite pool, you know, that goes to the edge. You know what I mean? Boom. Y'all see my palm trees, you know, my California palm trees. All right. The blame game. So here's what's up. Let me share with you a couple of love nuggets how to avoid the blame game, because the blame game usually happens. I'll talk about in relationships first, and then I'll talk about how the blame game is played for among singles who don't have relationships. Matter of fact, I'll address the singles first who don't have relationships. Family, let me say this, that every single thing that you have gone through in your life has to be something that you have learned to overcome before you enter into your next relationship. All right. Because even if, as I was saying, and I was kind of being facetious, but I want to be really serious here. So let's take it there. Even if the person you were married to or involved with in relationship, even if they did 10,000 things wrong, there was something still that you did wrong. Okay. And even if you didn't do anything that was offensive or violates the word of God or anything like that, or anything that was illegal, listen, at the very least, you were wrong from being in a relationship with them. But Dr. G, I came in with pure love. I'm a person who just loves hard. And I came in and I just wanted to love that woman. And I wanted to take care of her. And I wanted to take care of her children. And I wanted to be a good dad to her children and good husband to her. And she did this and she did that. Even if she did, bruh, the fact that you did not see the warning signs, the fact that you ignored the red flags, that's on you. And you can't blame her for doing what she's been wired and conditioned and spiritually influenced to do when you knew she was a spiritually imbalanced woman. You got to take responsibility for that, bruh, because God already showed you the warning signs, and you got to take responsibility for that. All right. Let me be transparent here and share about myself. And I'll talk more about this in our class tomorrow night. Ladies, gentlemen, even though I caught my wife cheating, guess what? I'm still responsible. Now, I know some of y'all might be sitting here and say, wait a minute, hold up, Coach G, how in the world could you be responsible for your wife cheating and you never cheated on her? Absolutely, I never cheated on her. Never cheated on her. But guess what? I'm still responsible, because even before we got married, while we were going through premarital counseling, the Holy Ghost showed me certain things, and I had the opportunity to not get married in the first place. I chose to go past those warning signs God showed me. I chose to ignore those red flags that God was showing me. I chose to ignore this thing that was exposed in the middle of our premarital counseling. I chose to ignore it all and marry her anyway. To that end, I'm guilty, and I got to be accountable for that. It doesn't matter what she did in the marriage. Doesn't matter what she did. I'm still responsible, because if I had listened to God and paid attention to the warning signs, and family, just to let you know, for some of you who may be sitting here and said, oh, I was in this situation, but I didn't know. There was no way I could have known. Oh, no, you are wrong, ma'am. You are wrong, sir, because warning always comes before destruction. There is no living human being on the planet, even if you don't know God and you don't have Holy Spirit living on the inside of you, there's no human being on the planet where God didn't give you some kind of warning sign, indication, information or red flag being revealed to you before you got involved in that relationship. Because you know what? God is love. And because God is love and marriage is a covenant relationship that he established, he is not going to let this pure covenant be perverted with pain, perversion, and all kind and abuse and all kind of things. He's not going to let his covenant get jacked up. If it gets jacked up, it's because we jacked it up. It's not because he jacked it up. What he created is perfect. People jack it up, right? So we have to take responsibility for the fact that we chose this person. Nobody made you walk down that aisle and marry him. Nobody made you walk down that aisle and marry her. You chose to do it for whatever the circumstances were. Okay. And there are a multitudinous amount of situations that occur in life that we make these decisions. But the bottom line is, just as sure as God, who created us, doesn't make us love him and serve him, nobody made you do what you decided to do. Whatever the circumstances were, listen. And if even at this moment, you're listening to me, you're watching me. If you at this moment, you can't take responsibility and hold yourself accountable for the decision you made. I don't care if your pastor pushed you. I don't care if parents were pressuring you. I don't care if the person you love were pressuring you. You are a grown person and you had a right to make your own decision at that moment. You chose. And whatever you chose to do, you have to be responsible. You have to be accountable for that. All right. I chose to marry this woman despite the fact that a big, huge issue came up in the middle of our 6 weeks of premarital counseling. I still made a decision to marry her despite of what was exposed in our sessions. I got to be responsible. So then, boom, fast forward 6 months, 8 months later, and the fact that I catch her getting out of another man's car, out of the back seat of another man's car, around the corner from our house in broad daylight, the fact that that happened, I got to be responsible for that. I got to stand up as a man and be accountable for that. Oh, yes, men. Oh, yes, brothers. I know y'all can do, man, y'all can call me simp, whatever, you know, all of you little pseudo keyboard warriors that want to call people names and all that kind of stuff and hurl insults at people, especially because you're behind a keyboard and you know I'm never in life going to see you. Y'all can call me simp, y'all can call me wimp, y'all can call me a punk and all that kind of stuff. You can call me that I'm, you know, whatever these little terms are, you know, I'm trying to garner a bigger following of women. I have a pretty nice following. All right. I'm not trying to be like nobody. I am G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach. I'm not trying to be like nobody except myself and walk in the lane that God has given me. And this August, it will be 20 years that I've been serving in this field, serving in this capacity. All right. So I'm not new to this. I'm not just another talking head on social media. I'm not new to this. I'm real true to this. I'm passionate about the mission of building healthy love relationships. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to take responsibility and not place blame. All right. So now let's talk about the inward work of a relationship. How do we avoid playing the blame game? Because if we're not honest, family of God, listen, some of us, we may just be single until Jesus come back. Dr. G, don't say that. You're supposed to be helping people get married and get together. I do want you to get together. But if you can't stop playing the blame game, you can't play the love game. And I know it's not a game, it's life. But if you can't stop playing the blame game, you're not going to be able to build a healthy love relationship. All right? You're not going to be able to build a relationship because nobody wants to get into a fight with you or get into an argument with you where you're always making it about the other person. So let's talk about what happens in a relationship and how we can stop playing the blame game. All right. So love nugget number one. This is the first thing. And this is a beautiful act of selflessness. Okay. This is a beautiful act of selflessness because real love, family, real love is always selfless, not selfish. All right. This is what the love chapter tells us in 1 Corinthians 13. The scripture says that love is not self-seeking. right? So it's not selfish, it's selfless. So the first thing that we do in a conversation, or we have a confrontation, the first thing that we want to do is we want to make the other person feel, we want to give them a strong sense, because when we're coming into a situation, we got to deal with each other. Listen, the first thing that we want to do, family, is we want to put ourselves in their shoes. So let's just say, Sadira, let's say this, Miss Angela, that the other person was 10,000 ways wrong, right? 10,000 ways wrong. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. How would I, if I was dead wrong on something, how would I want to be approached? How would I want to be handled? How would I want to be corrected? And when we put ourselves in our partner's shoes, then our approach, even when we got to deal with a situation, we can deal with it in love. The Bible instructs us to speak the truth in love toward each other, not to come at each other with a hard fist and a hard hammer and making them feel condemned. Yeah, they were wrong. They did something wrong. They made a big mistake. They intentionally spent money that they should not have spent, or whatever the situation is. But the bottom line is, we have to handle that person, the person that we love, the person we're in relationship with. We got to handle them the way we would want to be handled. And it's interesting to me that many of us, we come into a relationship and we will approach a situation, especially when they're dead wrong, right? Dead to right, just caught red-handed. But we approach them from this place of superiority. I would have never done that to you. I would have never said that to you. And that could be true. You may have never done that. You may have never said that. But there are some things that you have said and done that are just as hurtful to the other person. So I want to handle my wife in a way that I would want her to handle me. So not coming at her in a very judgmental, condescending way, condemning her to hell. She messed up. All right. I say this all the time, and this bears repeating. I need all of you precious women to hear this, that even though I caught my wife cheating, literally in the act, I never called her out of her name. I never called her the B word. Mind you, our 11-year-old daughter, Coach Trina, our 11-year-old daughter is sitting in the car with me when I pulled up on her, getting out of the back seat of another man's car around the corner from our house in broad daylight. Okay. I never called her the B word. I never disrespected her. Oh, yes, I was mad as hell. Absolutely. And I know some of y'all saints gonna trip that I said mad as hell. Again, I was mad as hell. All right. I'm a man and I love God. I'm saved, Holy Ghost filled, and I'm anointed, and I'm on my way to heaven. And I was mad as hell. But despite that, family, I didn't dishonor her. I didn't disrespect her. I didn't put her on blast. I could have publicly destroyed her. I didn't. I just knew it was time for me to leave. It was time for me to go. Period. It's just that simple. And I'm saying that to say that after I got past my anger and got past me, driving miles down the Pacific Coast Highway and, having all of my little temper tantrums and my little rant sitting up in my car, I share that with you to say this, family, that at some point, you're going to come to a place of realizing that no matter how many things this person did wrong that hurt you, you got to ask yourself the question, but why have I stayed here in this relationship? Accountability. Why have I allowed this person to continue to do me wrong? Responsibility and accountability. I mean, why are you still there? Why are you still there? God has been showing you signs. He's been revealing things to you in dreams. My God in heaven. I'm talking to somebody here in this broadcast. God has been revealing things to you in dreams. And then you got confirmations on those things. This is not you just thinking weird. This is not you just being suspicious. This is not you just casting an aspersion on someone or making an accusation against someone that's unfounded. No, you got proof. God himself has been revealing it to you. Why are you still there? If you choose to remain there, you have to be accountable for the fact that you have chosen and continue to choose to stay in that relationship, even after God revealed things to you. All right. Accountability. Here we go. Let's go a little bit further. Talking about not playing the blame game, because a lot of us are single and we have not gotten into a deep, intimate relationship because we don't put ourselves in the other person's shoes. All right. The next love nugget I want to give you is this: that being accountable, or rather letting go of the blame game, family, is accepting what a person has done, right? Accepting what a person has done. And then after we talk about it, we drop it. We're not going to keep bringing it up and keep talking about it and keep rehashing it. We're not going to do that, because that kind of conversation, it keeps tension in the relationship. It keeps conflict alive. Instead of allowing us to let go of the conflict and bringing us back into oneness, it keeps conflict alive. No, we got to let the conflict go. After we don't sweep it under the rug and act like it didn't happen. No, we're both adults here and we're both going to be accountable. But after we address it, boom, we're going to forgive and we're going to move on. What happens in a lot of relationships is that we want to keep rehashing. It's kind of like we are using it as leverage to kind of strip the other person of their dignity. And I know you don't see it that way. Oh, I wouldn't dare strip my mate of their dignity. I wouldn't do that. But you're doing it. You're doing it when you constantly bring up mistakes from the past, that you're constantly bringing up that past hurt. Okay, at some point you have to let it go. Because if we constantly keep playing the blame game and throwing up the other person's wrongdoings, then the reality is you haven't forgiven them. And a lack of forgiveness will ruin a relationship. Okay? A lack of forgiveness, bitterness, resentment, it will ruin a relationship. Okay, let's go on to the next. Okay, and that brings us to this next love nugget, family, that listen, our goal in a relationship is to be building up to building a relationship, building our foundation, and building a relationship where we're constantly building and strengthening the bond of oneness between us, not building a case against your partner. All right. Part of playing the blame game, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm going to block out negative information from other people. Somebody drop that in the chat for me. Blocking out negative information from other people. I'm never going to believe other people more than I believe my partner. Okay. I'm never going to allow another woman to bring me a whole bunch of negative information about my woman. I'm going to say that again, ladies. I'm never going to allow another woman to bring me a whole lot of negative information about my woman. Selah. Okay. I need you to hear that. Because if you don't hold on to that thought, then what happens is you become a trash can. And you allow the trash man or the trash woman to bring you trash about your partner. And if you don't master the ability to block out negative information from other people, then it will keep a high level of tension in your relationship, and you'll always be blaming them for things that maybe they didn't even do. Not even realizing that the enemy is using somebody else or using other people to bring division in your relationship. And you can't afford that. You can't afford that. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sadira. You can't. Thank you, Queen Lavora. So block out that negative information. All right, here we go. You don't want to be building a case. Listen, if the person that you're with, if they always feel like they have to defend themselves, at some point, this is going to ruin your relationship. Why should I always have to prove myself to you? If I feel like I have to prove myself to you all the time, if I feel like you have heard something from somebody else and you're giving more merit to what they said about me rather than talking with me, and I'm your man. I don't care who said it. I don't care if your mama said it, that you give more merit to what your mother said versus having a conversation with me. Now, if we have a conversation with me, you have a conversation with me, and you feel like I'm not being honest or something like that, then that's a whole nother thing. But you're not going to have a conversation. Brothers, let me talk to y'all. You're not going to have a conversation with your woman, and some other woman came and gave you information about your woman, and you're not going to have a conversation with her? Bruh, no, that's not what men do. That's not what leaders do. No, leaders, in order to be an excellent leader, my brothers, we have to take in all the information, not just run and make a whole set of decisions off of one tiny piece of information that could be misinformation. You're going to let somebody else bring information to you? Oh man, I saw your woman at lunch with this other dude. Okay, maybe you did. But did you get the whole perspective? And did you talk to your woman and find out about the situation? Yeah, you saw, boom, somebody saw your woman at lunch with another dude, and it happened to be 5 minutes that they observed your wife, your woman with another dude. 5 minutes they observed her, took pictures. But they left. The rest of that story is 5 minutes later, 12 other people from their office showed up for lunch. Just so happened they were on time and the other people were late. They weren't having a private lunch. They were having an office lunch. And your wife, your woman, just happened to be there, and she just happened to be talking to one other gentleman that works in her office. They ain't got no romantic thing going on. They ain't got no shady stuff going on. She's there on a professional level. And guess what, brothers? And she told you about the lunch, and she told you where she was going to be, and she told you what time it was going to be. But if you allow somebody else to bring you negative information about your wife, about your woman, without having a conversation with her, that could be detrimental to your relationship. Okay? Ladies, I got to bless y'all with the same thing, because ladies, y'all be having eyes and ears everywhere. I remember I was in a place where I knew that there was going to be a negative conversation with my ex. I already knew it because I saw her friend out my peripheral. I saw her friend, her very good friend, on the other side of the restaurant. And I saw her posturing herself to try to ear hustle on my conversation. I pretended like I didn't even see her. And I played it up to the hilt. I let her friend intentionally hear some stuff just to make her think that something crazy was going on. I was petty that day, y'all. That wasn't right. But I was petty that day because she's a mess. And I'm going to let it be exposed that she's a mess, ready to run back and drop some stuff like I'm doing something shady. I let it be known. So before she could even get to my girl, boom, she's like, oh no, she's like, honey, G called me from the restaurant. He called you from the restaurant? What? The same restaurant that I was at? Girl, I was there. Yeah, he called me from the restaurant. He already told me da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. He asked me to come up there and meet him, matter of fact, because we only 15 minutes away. Girl, you should have came up there. No, girl, I already know everything about it. G called me and told me I can come up there and meet him. Got ahead of the game because I'm petty like that. Not always, but that day I was petty. Yes, Saderia, the petty spirit got me that day. All right, so listen, let me break down a couple of other love nuggets, and then we're gonna get up out of here, y'all. So, talking about how do we avoid the blame game so that we don't ruin our relationships. All right, when you do have a conversation, ladies and gentlemen, when you do have a conversation, somebody dropped this in the chat. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. Sometimes we're so full of emotion about a thing, and we're ready to talk about it when we're ready to talk about it. But if our partner in a relationship, our spouse, is not ready to talk about that, or it's not a convenient time for them, if you're not careful, ladies, gentlemen, if you're not careful, it can really intensify your emotions, and then you might start feeling like they're guilty of something that they're not guilty of. The reality, however, is just that you did not approach them at the right time. Timing is everything when we got to discuss something. And you can't blame them for being wrong or blame them for being guilty just because they weren't ready to talk about what you wanted to talk about. Okay? Timing is everything. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Miss Camilla. Timing is everything. I'm sorry, is it Camilla or Camila? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Give me a 1 if it's Camila. Give me a 2 if it's Camilla. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I love getting people's name right. I don't like getting people's name wrong. My name is Hightower, and it's very simple, but people have gotten my name wrong for years. Highwater, Hiawatha. I've been called Hiawatha. I've been called High Water. Bridge over troubled water. I've been called I've been called all kind of stuff. All right. Here we go. Let me give you this next love nugget. This one is super important. All right. In our relationship, in order to let go of the blame game, and this one is super important, family. Listen, when you come into a relationship, you come into a conversation, you have to actually, oh, Kamala. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Kamala. Okay, see now, Miss Kamala, I feel some type of way about who gave you the name. Like, okay, how come you couldn't spell it the regular way so I could not be called Camila, Camilla, Camelo, Cantaloupe? I mean, I would feel some type of way. I would. I'm like, okay, why did you not give me a proper spelling like Kamala Harris? Well, bless you, Miss Kamala. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So listen, the most loving and the most respectful thing we can do with our partners in a relationship, the most loving and most respectful thing we can do is listen without interruption. Listening without interruption. Somebody dropped this in the chat. Resist the temptation to interrupt. Resist the temptation to interrupt. Resist the temptation to interrupt. This is the worst thing we can do because now this is really going to turn the fire up. You think we're playing the blame game? We're hurling insults at each other or throwing words at each other right now. We're talking at each other instead of talking with each other, talking to each other. Listen, it's going to turn up the fire if I can't even let you finish a sentence and you're saying, okay, well, gee, what happened was, no, I don't care what happened. I already know what happened because somebody sent me a picture. Somebody screenshot and sent me a picture. I saw you over there. I saw you over there. I saw you, and so what happens, what happens is if you do not shut to the up and listen without interruption, first of all, it's disrespectful not to do that for your partner. Gentlemen, that means us too. Ladies, that means you too. All right. But also, it's going to, again, put more blame on the other person, and you're not giving them an opportunity to explain themselves. All right. They deserve, you're in a relationship with them. So since you chose to be in a relationship with them, they deserve your respect. And they deserve to have an opportunity to explain themselves without interruption. All right? Yes, thank you, Sadira. You have to treat each other like we're on the same team. Again, not building up a case against them. I'm building relationship with you, not building up a case against you. I mean, who are you, Marsha Clark? Are you trying to put me in jail without the bail? You know what I mean? This is kind of one of the reasons why I, as much as I have so much love, honor, and respect for our women who are in the legal field, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna marry a lawyer because I don't want to feel like I'm on trial every night. I don't want to feel like I'm on trial. I'm gonna give you everything. I'm gonna give you my heart. You got all the money. You got the house. You got everything. I'm gonna give you everything. But if something you sense is not quite right, I don't want to feel like I'm on trial. I'm all the way in a dead sleep, 2 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, The light goes on. Gee, are you up? I'm in a deep sleep. You can hear me deep breathing. I don't snore, but you can hear me breathing heavy. I'm asleep. Gee, you ain't sleep, are you? Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, I just want to talk to you about something that happened 2 days ago. Remember you told me 2 days ago? Really, babe? It's 2:00 in the morning. You waking me up out of a deep sleep to ask me something that happened 2 days ago? Really? And then if I can't answer the question, well, it seemed like to me something must be wrong because it seemed like to me it was only 2 days ago. You should be able to remember. You should be able to remember if it was only 2 days ago. What's wrong? I mean, you come on. I mean, how come you can't remember? Is this as you said it was? I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna marry an attorney. I know, ladies. Don't get mad at me. It's just my choice. Just like you don't want to marry, you might not want to marry a cop. You might not want to marry a football player. Yeah, I dated an attorney. I felt like I was on trial every conversation. Well, what happened? So what was said? What did you say? What did he say? And what did she say? It's like I just want to have a regular conversation. Well, actually, on the night in question, babe, actually, what happened was, I was just matriculating on through my own. I don't want to feel like I'm on trial. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. All right, let me give you this last love nugget, y'all. We got to go for real. Oh, goodness. I love what I do. Okay, so this is the last love nugget I want to give you for tonight, family. Rather. And this is a super important one because if you don't get this right here, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges that are just unnecessary in your relationship. Okay. One of the ways that you can let go of the blame game in your relationship, and you got to actually have a conversation, is begin the conversation with putting yourself in the seat. So rather than you did this, rather than doing that, put yourself in the position. Says, here's what has happened, or here's what was said. Here's how I feel about it. So rather than using you, put I there. Okay. Let's flip the script. Okay. Put yourself in the seat. Let's talk about what happened. Let's talk about what was said. Let's talk about what was perceived. And then rather than saying, well, you did this and you did this, you did that, rather than doing that, put yourself in the seat. Just say, this is how I feel about it. This is how here's how those words landed on me. And here's how it made me feel. And then we can have a conversation from that perspective. That way the other person doesn't feel blamed for how you feel. Okay? Because how you feel is how you feel. All right? That's just how you feel. So let's not continue to build a case against the person that you love. So rather than you, no, let's use some I statements. Here's how I feel about it. Here's how those words landed on me, and here's how it made me feel. And you put yourself in that position, and that will at least alleviate the pressure off of your partner where they feel blamed, because maybe how you feel is based on something that triggered you from something of the past. All right. Hold on one second, y'all. This is a very unusual, but y'all hold on. All right, y'all, excuse me. Literally had some little kids right outside my door, right outside my, just like going crazy, like, wow. And I don't have kids. All my kids are grown. But to close out today, family, I just want to share that in closing, that the ultimate objective in our relationship is to bring unity and to always be building on love. Like, love has to be the foundation. And love is always selfless, not selfish. All right. It's not just about you in this relationship. It's about him too, ladies, brothers. It's about her too. And I know you've been through some things, and in your mind, your thinking is, I just don't want to get hurt again. Listen, this is why some of you need to be in our group coaching. All right. Preparing for real love, because some of you are still carrying a lot of hurt. Okay. And I want to help you get free from that hurt. I want to help you get free from that pain and those emotional triggers that are keeping you in this place where you keep pushing away good people. You keep sabotaging good relationship opportunities, or overlooking good relationship opportunities, because the fear that you have of getting hurt is greater than your desire to be loved. Love conquers all, but love is a choice. Real love is not something we fall into. I know we use all these wonderfully romantic terms. Oh my God, they met each other and they fell in love. And we read stories about it. We watch movies about it. Come on, y'all. I'm definitely a romantic at heart, a hopeful romantic, not a hopeless romantic. Listen, Love Jones is one of my top 5 movies of all time. And I'm a movie buff, y'all. I'm born and raised in Hollywood. All right. My son even was an actor. All right. I love movies. I love everything about movies and television. All right. And if y'all, for those of you who are really, spiritual and very sensitive to things in the spirit realm, you know that God gives us a lot of revelation from certain movies that we watch and television shows. All right. So as much as I love love and stories about love and reading love novels and watching love stories, guess what? Bottom line is, at some point, you got to come to the place and say, you know what? If I want that real love, the desire to have real love has to be greater than my fear of being hurt by love. And the reality is, as much as we see these highly romanticized stories and movies and books and TV shows and yada, 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 real love is not something you fall into. Real love is a choice. Real love is a conscious decision that mature people make, that they want to be in an unconditional relationship with. All right. Or rather, that we are in a relationship and we are going to give unconditional love to each other within this relationship. Okay. It's not going to be based on money. It's not going to be based on what you do. It's going to be based on who you are and how you want to give into this relationship. All right. It's not something you fall into, because anything you fall into is something you can fall out of. Talking to one of my dear friends earlier, just a couple of days ago, and he was sharing with me that he and his wife have grown apart, and he's trying to figure out how to bring the relationship back together. And I'm like, bro, you haven't grown apart. You haven't grown apart. You just have to pour back in to the things that were good, that make her happy. And you got to ask her to get back to doing the things that make you happy. All right. Y'all been together 12 years. Most couples barely make it 12 months nowadays. So I told my brother, I said, bro, you've been together 12 years. I said, you need to just pour back into that. What were the things that you guys used to do? Man, we used to go out on dates. We used to go there. We used to go to the beach and do this and that. I said, okay, when the last time y'all been to the beach? Man, it's been a cool minute. Okay, y'all need to get back to the beach. Take the kids, drop them over at mama's house, and tell mama y'all gonna pick them up on Saturday afternoon. Go get you a spot, get you a room. Y'all go to the beach on Friday night, go hang out, walk on the beach, make love, get something good to eat. Next day, go to IHOP, have some breakfast, and go back to the spot and make love again before you got to check out at 12 noon. Cost you all of $200 to help rekindle the romance. Love you, mean it. Well, I hope this has been helpful today. We don't fall out of love, y'all. As my brother Lorenz Tate said in the movie Love Jones, when people say they've fallen out of love and they've grown apart, they haven't fallen out of love. They just exhausted the possibilities. We stopped doing the little things that used to excite us in a relationship. We've gotten so caught up with society, with pressures from everybody around us, that we've gotten out of doing the things that we actually enjoy doing, the simplicity of things. Ladies, a lot of y'all got these material girls in your relationship. I mean, that you're in friendships with, and it's kind of really put pressure on your relationship because you feel a need to keep up with what your girlfriends are doing. And you don't even like doing that kind of stuff. You and your man do some different stuff. You and your man, listen, a romantic day for y'all to have a nice date could be going horseback riding and then go have a nice dinner after you go horseback riding. You ain't always got to get on a plane and go out to Miami or go to Bahamas or go to Jamaica. You don't always have to have that. You can have a phenomenal time that we're going to go horseback riding today, or we're going to go out to the golf course. And after we go to the golf course together, we're going to go get a massage together. And then after a massage, we're going to go to this wonderful little diner. We're going to go get some crab legs or whatever. And we're going to come back home and boom, get in the tub together and make good love. Boom. That could be a phenomenal weekend for you and your husband. It don't always take a lot of money. It just takes a lot of desire to want to serve your person. All right, y'all. I love you. I got to go. I hope this has been helpful for y'all. This is your brother G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach. I'll be back later on tonight. I'll bring you something good tonight. In the meantime, stay blessed. Don't be stressed. And whatever you do, don't play the blame game in your relationship. All right? And for those of you that are single, if marriage is your focus, you got to let go of the pain of your past. Don't blame him. Don't blame her for where you are today. Where you are today should be a whole new day for you. And that means you got to have a different mindset and a different attitude, making sure that your soul is whole so you're ready for your future soulmate. All right? Love you. Bless you. We'll see you later. Bye.